Well, hello again everybody. Well, today's going to be just a little bit of a catch-up video. I'm afraid, as you all know, I've been a bit busy at work recently and haven't really had a lot of time to make videos and stuff like that. But I did need to crack on and have a go at repairing some of these logic analyzers that I've got for the very simple reason that it got to the point where I couldn't get in and out of my workshop. I was tripping over these logic analyzers. I've got about 3 of them, all in various states of disrepair, and they're not exactly small units. I mean, they're you know, it's the equivalent of trying to circumnavigate Stonehenge every time you want to do a bit of soldering. I don't know if I've showed you this last time, but you know that we had the tube that was broken. Well, this is the tube that was smashed, and basically it has a little pip at the end of the tube, and that's what had been smashed off in transit when it came over from America. So the whole CRT comes as actually a module of components, and it's not designed to be serviceable in the field. If it fails, what you would do is you would ring up Hewlett-Packard, and they would maybe send you out a complete CRT unit. That would all be kind of set up and configured and aligned in the workshop. You would take your old one out, put a new one in, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, off you're going again. So this is what, you know, you would have got. You've got this thing that goes on the back of the tube, whatever that does. You've got do you call that a horizontal board thing with a line output transformer on it? Is it a horizontal board? I think you call it a horizontal board. I'm not sure. It's got lots of, I was going to say it's got lots of things that talk about horizontal and vertical. Anyway, you get this board, let's call it the power board, that has the has a line output transformer on it. And it has this thing on it as well, which, again, I think, is this thing called a doubler or a tripler? I'm not exactly sure really. Well, I know what the purpose of it is. It's to boost the voltage even higher. But I'm kind of wondering why they have a separate doubler or tripler unit. And again, I don't know whether or not this is a doubler or a tripler. So if there's any way to tell the difference between doublers and triplers, or etc., then let me know. Maybe I could just look up the Sony part number, but that'd require effort, so we won't do that. So yeah, it comes with that board as well. Here's the CRT unit. Pull that out. So this unit was smashed. Really not a lot we can say about it, is it? It's no use. Interestingly enough, do you remember Sony Trinitron? I mean, I don't know what Trinitron means. I'm sure it meant something to Sony, but it says here Sony Triniton monitor, and the number here is M23JHU15X. And I think it's got some other numbers here on the framework somewhere, has it? Yeah, it also goes by the, you know, its family name of, I think this was the HP part number, so CHM-9001-00. So these were supplied to Hewlett-Packard by Sony. It says here quite clearly made in Japan. So this unit was no good. It had a smashed tube. As you know, I ordered a second unit from the United States. That arrived. It was spares a repair. I knew that it had a problem with it, and annoyingly enough, the problem was with the CRT section, but it had a good tube in it. And the actual logic analyzer myself is at the side of me here. And when I opened it up, it was in as new condition. It looks as though this thing's pretty much never been used, but yeah, it has, looking at some of the log files. So I was faced with 2 of these CRT modules, neither of which worked. So what I actually did was, yeah, I knew that this one was no good, nothing I could do with it, so I get this out of the way, put it on one side. So I was left with the good CRT that didn't function. So I was trying to track down there what was actually wrong with the good CRT unit. The tube was good, but there was obviously something wrong with, I don't know, do they call it horizontal or vertical board? And I spent, you know, a couple of evenings messing around with it. Basically, the set, if you like, it was totally dead. It wasn't developing any HT. There wasn't even any logic levels going to any of the chips on it. There's absolutely no circuit diagrams or information available for this Sony monitor. About the only thing that there is available is we did find a website which posted to, it said it was on microfiche, and this website all looked a bit dodgy and they wanted 15 quid for schematic, so I didn't bother with that because I just didn't know if it was any good. So we were left with two of these modules, neither of which work, and I tried to track down the fault, and well, basically I couldn't track it down. I tried. I didn't try exhaustively. I spent a couple of hours looking at it, and in the end I kind of gave up and decided to do more of you know, a board level repair. So this board here, and again I don't know what to call it, the actual 120 volts comes into this board, and what it does is it goes onto this other board via a ribbon cable, and I think whatever happens on here steps it down to 5 volts and 15 volts. Not exactly sure where. As I say, I haven't exhaustively looked at all the ICs on here. I'm assuming there must be some switch mode on it somewhere to actually develop the lower voltages. But basically what I did was, the board that had the smashed CRT on it, I took that out and I put that into the unit that had the good CRT but perhaps a faulty board. I swapped the boards out and it powered up and it worked. So I know the problem that is on this board, and again, this board looks like new. It does look like a brand new board when you look at it, but it doesn't function. And I did have a think about you know, trying to diagnose the the problem a little bit further. I mean, I tried to look at obvious things like you know, short circuits on the line output transformer, and I did some comparative readings between the line output transformer on this board and the one on the other board, and yeah, they look very similar. I belled out this, which I'm guessing is a line output transistor. That looks okay. I checked some of the other transistors. Again, they all looked okay. Some of the ICs and stuff down here, they haven't got any markings on them, so I wasn't exactly sure what they were doing anyway. I mean, most of my research was by having a look at, I think it's the Shangu videos, and is it 12 Volt Vids who does a lot of TV repairs, and I tried to watch some of them, what they did. And you know, all I can say is I would say that what I've got is a dead horizontal circuit, because from what I can tell is a lot of the other voltages on a monitor and a TV, they are all kind of derived from the horizontal, and it talks about having a horizontal transformer. So I don't know if one of these is a horizontal transformer and then that gets amplified and drives the line output transformer here, or if maybe even the line output transformer has some lower voltage tappings on it and maybe that generates some of the logic levels. I just don't know. I've never really worked on TVs and I couldn't find any service data, so I got stuck. So yeah, sorry, I haven't gone down to component level. I perhaps could spend more time, you know, checking all of the components, checking the resistors, checking the capacitors. But even if I get this board working, there's nothing I can do with it, because it comes back to the fact that the only CRT I've got is smashed. So I'm going to stop, you know, I'm going to stop digging while I'm ahead. I've now got one working HP16500C, and that's good enough for me. Now, the guy in the States who I bought the original unit off, who didn't pack it very well, he said when he gets round to it, he's going to he's got some more spare units, and he's going to send me one. He's going to send me a complete CRT module, and you can buy the complete CRT modules on eBay. I think they're around about, I've seen them anywhere between you know, £50 and £400 depending on the eBay seller. So and also a chap on the EV blog says he's just scrapped one of these analyzers, and he'd be happy to send me this CRT module. But I think the reality is, you know, you can only drive one car at once. I only really need one CRT module, which I've got now. But if I manage to get the other one, you know, if the chap in America just send me the replacement one over, I guess what I will do is I'll repair the other HP 16500C, and I'll maybe put it on eBay or something like that. So the reality is, even if I actually do get the other analyzer working and I stick it on eBay, there's not going to be many people as stupid as me who are going to want one of these logic analyzers, because pretty much everything it does you can do with a cheap USB one these days. But you know, I like my big boat anchors equipment. You know, it has the wow factor when you switch it on and the hard drive boots up and you get a lovely colour display. It's, you know, much more impressive than some poxy laptop. So yeah, I think I'm perhaps the only one who's probably going to be man enough to want this type of equipment. So yeah, not much more I can say about that. I think what I might do is I might try and just strip the yoke down and stuff like that, because you never know, maybe the other CRT unit I get will need spare parts, or maybe I'll be able to use it in the future. So maybe we'll just have a go at stripping that down, and maybe if I have a go at repairing some of the other boards, it'll be useful just to have these to plug in as loads. So I'll bring you in and let's just see if we can strip the yoke off it and some of the adjustment things. Not exactly sure if this will even come apart, but I think it's worth a try. If nothing else, it's got some nice coils of wire on it that might come in for something. By that I mean basically they'll get put in a box, and when I die my family will be able to take them to landfill. Actually, we may be on to kind of a non-starter, because it does feel as though it... I mean, these things are designed to be adjustable, aren't they, for the tube geometry? But oh, there we go. I was going to say it won't come off, but there we go, it has just come off. So that's got a nice coil of wire on it, hasn't it? It might come in for something. Will this bottom one come off? It's got some of the geometry adjustment things there. I forget what you call them. Are they to do with the I don't know what they are, the rotation of the screen? I know there's two of them, I can't remember what they do. Is there anything you can do with an old CRT? I have no idea. Well, you know, this doesn't really look as though it comes down any further. I mean, it looks as though it splits about here somewhere. It all feels pretty well stuck together, to be honest. Seems to be like some kind of double-sided tape. I mean, I could just prise away at it, but what's holding that on there? I just can't tell. Kind of wondering, shall I just give up? I can't see anything holding this board, but it doesn't want to come out. Oh, maybe it's just... okay, brute force. Yeah, I mean, I know the purpose of them is to adjust the tube geometry. I think they like twist the pitch around the stuff. Do they? Is one of them? Is it divergence? Is one of them a divergent control? I think it probably is divergence. Make sure that all the little coloured dot things are on top of each other from the free electron guns. Yeah, I'm going with that. I'm probably wrong. You can shout out. Leave it in the comments if I don't know what I'm talking about. Because let's face it, I don't know what I'm talking about. Right, is this thing going to come off now, or is the tube going to explode in my face? I'm kind of game for either, actually, to be honest. I don't think there's really anything holding it now. And this thing is very dirty. Maybe it's just a matter of working the sellotape, working the screwdriver around it, because there's some, like I say, there's some double-sided tape on here, and the plastic seems to have kind of moulded itself into the tape. Maybe when we've pulled this off, we can have a bit of a look inside it. All right, that feels as though it might have gone. Is that going to lift up now? There we go. And lots of lots of lovely copper wire. I seem to think, well, I know that sometimes they call this a yoke, don't they? And I seem to remember back in the day when it used to be like a big fixed single yoke. Radio amateurs and that used to make coaxial balance and stuff like out of this ferrite material. I'm guessing it's a material that's got reasonable magnetic properties, because you know, that's effectively what this is. It's you know, an electromagnet. So yeah, is there anything you can do with TV yokes? Any projects? What can I do with that? Okay, so we've got the tube itself now. I think I might just scrape off some of the tape and then we can have a look at it, because I'm quite interested. I think about the only time I've looked at a TV tube is when I've put bricks through them as a child, because I was quite a destructive child. I was, you know, I was much better at smashing things than I ever was at, you know, repairing them. I mean, nothing really changes, really. I mean, my success rate at destroying electrical equipment is far higher than my success rate of, you know, actually repairing anything. Probably going to find out when I do a bit more reading that all this stuff on here is really carcinogenic. It's, you know, everything gives you cancer these days, doesn't it? Probably so does acetone, which I'm now going to spray all over it. Right, what can we say? So here's the tube. I mean, I always, whenever I look at these kind of TV tubes, I am just absolutely, you know, amazed that what we've got here is, you know, we've got three electron guns. We've got three electron guns, and we've got heating elements, heaters for the guns, and I just think it's incredible that they managed to get all that, especially in the neck of one of these thin tubes. Yeah, like I say, I'm not a TV guy. I can't talk to you about it or amaze you with my knowledge. I don't know. Is the ring down there? That ring, is that the focus control? The one, what is it? 1, 2, 3. It's going to one of the pins, because I noticed that on this board it has a few other high voltages that go to the top cap, and I seem to think that one of the high voltage is a screen, what they call a screen, and I'm wondering if that works like in the same way as a screen grid on the valve. So one of them was a screen, and I think there's another, I think it was an 800 volt supply, which I think is the focus control. Again, I'm not exactly sure how that operates, but I'm guessing all that goes on in here somewhere. So I suspect quite a lot of my audience, people who watch this thing, are probably a lot more expert in TVs and repair and stuff like that. So leave it in my comments, educate me about televisions. What have we got here? So what can we use all these wonderful bits for? You must have some ideas, because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I mean, what do we do? Do we hang it up in the garden for the blue tits to peck of it? We must be able to do something. Should we use it as some kind of wall art? I don't know, I quite like that. It's, yeah, we're in a kind of bit phallic, really. Okay, so we've got the unit powered up now, and the camera seems to be jumping around, and I'm seeing a lot of flicker on my camera, but the screen looks perfectly fine. But one little problem with it is because I've swapped over some of the boards, the actual geometry, the height of the screen isn't quite correct, and I've got to admit, I'm a little bit scared to bugger about with it anymore, and I'm kind of at the point where I think I should just quit while I'm ahead. But there's a couple of buttons here that I don't know if you can see the print and the configuration. They are really right at the very top of the screen, and there's a bit of a border down here. So there is actually a vertical center height here, and I'm just wondering if I can just adjust that. And the other thing is, I think the screen is very slightly to the left as well, and I think it needs to be pushed over to the right, and I'm a little bit scared to mess with it, but I think I should just have a little go at trying to adjust some of these things. You know, I bought about 500 trimmers the other day and I can't find any of them. Right, so I'm gonna have to sit on the floor and do this. So I can see one, it says vertical center. Is that going to do anything? Oh yeah, that's done it. think that's okay, isn't it? It's a lot better. Wonder if there's anything to shift the picture to the right a little bit. What will that be? Will that be? Won't be vertical hold. H size. Won't be horizontal size, will it? Is there a H center? H frequency. Oh, H center. There we go. Let's have a little tweak of that. H center. You know what? I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. That's good enough for me. Which is probably a bit crap, but good enough for me. Shall we try and adjust that vertical height? Should we just try and drop it down a little bit more? Yeah, let's try a little tad more. I think that's good enough for me. It's perfectly usable. I would say that the focus is a little bit off, but oh, maybe no, it's not. The focus is fine. I've just got dirty glasses. And the other thing that I've done with this, I think again, some of you know that I bought an analyzer before, which is I bought the HP16500A model. Now the A model doesn't have a hard disk in it, so you'll notice this has got a disk drive, but this unit, this is the C model, and it runs DOS, whereas the A model of the equipment runs some bizarre operating system, and it uses these LIF format floppy disks. And although it's a perfectly usable machine, what I have done is I've kind of just taken out the oscilloscope card. So this has actually got an oscilloscope in it as well, which we can just switch on there. I think I've got to make it run continuous. So there we go. I haven't got a scope probe plugged into it at the moment, but basically that's taking that's the oscilloscope running. I don't think it's a particularly exciting oscilloscope, 1 gigasample. It's not going to set the world on fire, but it's kind of nice to have that mixed domain, isn't it, to be able to do some analog and digital stuff. So I'll stop that. Logic analyzer. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pods, and I think each of the pods are 16 bits. So sorry, I was explaining before. So I've actually taken the scope card out of the other logic analyzer that they had, the A model, and I've slotted it into the C. Now all the cards that will work in the A model will also work in the C, but it's not backwards compatible the other way, because I think the A model was an early low spec model, and the C model was pretty much the top of the range system and came out a lot later. This particular unit is was made in 1996. I could see that when I looked at some of the configuration information, whereas the unit that I had before was actually made in 1992. So let's have a look at what other information we can see. Hard disk. So I can actually see here we've got some dates on it. So it was actually used, I don't know if it was last used, but it was certainly, there was a setup there, 1st of December 97. Yeah, it's always interesting to see how much information has been left on here. So somebody called Dave was messing with the machine back on the 18th of June 1997 at 12 minutes past 6. So thanks very much for that, Dave. And I can see that basically we've got all various setups here. So we've got something called VIP2 Nevada error trace, and yeah, all these files we're looking at here. I think, oh, and Rob's left us a file there. So again, thank you very much. We've got Rob2, Rob3, various files. Now all these files here I think are configuration files. So people don't have to keep loading the same data into the analyzer. What you can do is when you've got it set up how you want it, you can just save the configuration. And I think that's mainly what these are. I've just seen something interesting there. So, you know, somebody was running here, it says disassembler. So I'm guessing somebody here was running some kind of microprocessor, and they were converting what they were seeing on the data bus back into some form of machine code. So yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? So what we'll be looking at this in in more detail at some point in the future. Don't know what we're going to do with it, but we've got one to play with. So until next time, that'll do. Thanks very much. See you again soon. Bye for now.